Charlie doesn't get to partake in the candy man just giving out free candy. Oh no. Eventually, whenever he goes in to get some candy, the candy man expects payment up front.
But he got to watch all that free candy be given out.
Oh yeah, just what a kid wants to watch. Other kids get free candy. Welcome to Tairimo Boys podcast. I'm your host Cody. With me in second chair is the boy who broke his great glass elevator. It's Jeremy.
I was not going fast enough.
Gotta pick up the speed, Jeremy. With me in third chair is the boy who's only won a speeding ticket. It's Ryan.
Uh,
Today we're gonna be going back to the 1970s, specifically 1971, and reviewing the old Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie, the classical movie that we all know and love. Not the 2005 Johnny Depp one, which everyone hates. Certainly not the brand new one. We'll get to that here soon. So this movie, like I said, 1971. It's an hour and a half long. Doesn't overstay its welcome. Jeremy, do you know what the budget was on this movie?
Can I cheat?
No, you
Sorry,
can't.
cheated.
Okay.
All right. I'll leave
No?
it for Ryan then.
the cost of a box of gobstoppers.
A lot of gobstoppers.
In today's money, probably, yeah. Yeah, so the budget of this movie was $3 million. But you got to remember, this is $1970, so that's probably somewhere between 50 and 90 million in today's money. So by that standard, it actually had a pretty good budget on it. Now, Ryan, do you know the history behind who funded the budget for this?
No, not even close.
Jeremy cheated, so Jeremy, you go ahead and tell the story.
Actually, I don't know. I just read the budget.
Lazy, you didn't do all your cheating properly.
I didn't cheat properly.
The budget for this movie was entirely provided by the Quaker Oats company, because the idea was, hey, we're gonna release a candy bar with it, kind of like as a marketing thing. Well, they did, and eventually the candy bar came out, and they messed up the chocolate formula for it. And had to recall them all because the candy bars were like melting really quickly, and eventually they sold the rights to it to another company, and I think that other company is eventually got bought out, and it's the company that's making like Wonka stuff nowadays. So yep, there you go. So Jeremy, what are your first thoughts on this movie?
Fond memories as a child. Still holds up today.
Ryan, what about you?
First thoughts about the movie. It's old, but it is enjoyable. Is there a Tairimo Boys certified old?
That's you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Going for the burns early.
That was a Tairimo Boys certified burn. So this movie, it's old. That doesn't mean it's bad, because we've seen what a new Willy Wonka is like, and it's not good. This is a classical movie. After talking about the budget, it made 4 million back, so it made a profit, but it really wasn't considered like a huge success. But in the 1980s, once video rentals became a thing, like that's when it really became a classical hit.
Rest in peace, Blockbuster.
But yeah, I remember watching this movie as a kid and absolutely loved it. Well, I loved parts of it, and it still holds up to this day. And I was just thinking, with Christmas coming up, I probably need to buy my nephews this movie on DVD.
What a perfect gift.
Now, like I said, I just mentioned as a kid, I loved parts of this movie. What do you boys think about the first 42 minutes of the movie? So, if you don't know, it takes 42 minutes before they actually get to like the entrance of the factory.
Very dark. A very dark and slow 42 minutes.
Explain the dark part, Jeremy.
Everything's just so depressing. Poor Charlie crying.
So that's part of it. Is they're doing like all this world building for Charlie. Charlie's life sucks. He's got like a broken home with like lazy grandparents, and we'll get to that later.
You bet we will.
He gets made fun of in school by his teacher. It's like, oh, you only had 2 Wonka bars. What is wrong with you? And like, not to mention, like at the beginning where you have like the candy man handing out all the free candy. Charlie doesn't get to partake in the candy man just giving out free candy. Oh no! Eventually, whenever he goes in to get some candy, the candy man expects payment up front.
But he got to watch all that free candy be given out.
Oh yeah, just what a kid wants to watch. Other kids get free candy. I don't know how that asshole stays in business.
And the amount that Candyman actually gave out was enough to give all of those children the diabetes.
I was gonna ask, kind of rhetorically, or if that's the right thing. Like, did diabetes exist back then? But now that I think about it, it's existed since the Middle Ages, and they knew it. They just called it like honey urine or something back then. Now, here's a question for you boys. Did you catch the infamous blooper scene during the Candyman song?
I did not.
First scene?
Yep, when he's singing his song.
Nah.
All right, I'm gonna warn you ahead of time. Once I tell you about this, you're never gonna be able to not see it again. It's kind of like the whenever you see the stormtrooper hit his head on the door. Every time you see that scene from here on out, you're gonna that's the first thing you're gonna notice. So when the Candyman goes back behind his counter, like later on in his song, and he like lifts up the his little counter thing. He ends up hitting like a little girl with it. You can see her pull back.
Now I gotta go rewatch it.
You just Google that, like little girl hit Candyman, Willy Wonka, and probably get it. So there you go. I just ruined that scene for you. Enjoy. Now, fun fact time. Sammy Davis Jr. who wanted to play the Candyman originally, but they didn't want like such a famous person playing it. So there you go.
I do cherish the fun facts. Learn something new every day.
Now, before we got off topic, let's go back to Ryan. Ryan, what's your opinion on the first 42 minutes of this movie?
That's a barrel of laughs. Never been more excited.
You're being sarcastic, right?
Correct.
Being a little asshole, Ryan. Spoil sport.
Me?
Yes.
That doesn't track. By the way, that's also sarcasm.
I remember as a kid, anytime I'd watch this movie on VHS, I was over at my grandma's house, I'd fast forward to the part like where either Charlie first gets his golden ticket or whenever they're like right outside the factory. Because as we've already mentioned, the beginning of the movie, it's really slow. It's kind of miserable. But here's the thing: it's really built for adults because there's like a lot of adult humor. Like for instance, there's a scene where like everyone's wanting these Wonka bars. There's like a guy talking to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist is blowing off everything he says is, "Oh, this is crazy." And like the patient, he's like, "Well, this archangel visited me in my sleep and told me where the last Wonka bar, or where the golden ticket was." And then suddenly the therapist is like, "Tell me where the damn thing is." There's also the scene where a woman's husband has been kidnapped, is getting ransomed. And she's like, "I'll pay anything to get him back." And then whenever the police tell him, it's like, "Oh, you want your box of Wonka bars?" Then it's suddenly, "Oh, I'm gonna have to think about this." So it's really adult humor, like early on in the movie, which is why kids hate it.
It was fun to see the tone, like the adult humor throughout the movie, like stuff that I never caught as a child.
Yeah, it's literally. I mean, you got to remember this is more built as like a family movie, so adults are gonna enjoy like the beginning of it, and then kids will really enjoy the second half. Now, here's another little fun fact. There was a cut scene that's supposed to be part of that where a guy ends up going up a mountain and ends up finding like this wise man at the top of the mountain and asks the wise man is like, "What's the meaning of life?" Or it's something like it's like some kind of philosophical question or like, "What's life all about?" And the wise man was like, "I need a Wonka bar in order to tell you that." So gives him the Wonka bar, opens it up. There's no golden ticket in there, and then the wise man tells him, "Life's about disappointment."
They should have left that in there.
Well, that the reason they cut it out is because test audiences really didn't find it funny.
What a shame.
But maybe if they would have left it in the movie, we wouldn't have been talking about it. Maybe it would have just been stupid. Maybe this is like one of those things that's funnier because it was cut out. But you never know. All right, time for the obvious question. Jeremy, what's your favorite scene?
My favorite scene?
Yep.
It's gonna be different from everybody else's, I imagine.
You better not ruin my joke, Jeremy.
The family was bedridden for 20 years. The grandpa running around, and then them talking about how cabbage water and a loaf of bread is a banquet.
Jeremy's just got a sick sense of humor.
Yes, I do.
Ruined my joke. Fuck you, Jeremy. Ryan, what about you? You're gonna ruin it further.
The part where you see the river of chocolate for the first time, because it reminds me of what happens 20 minutes after I eat a burrito grande.
Ooh, relatable.
That's me tonight.
Pushing out more than 10 million gallons per hour, huh?
10,000, Jeremy.
10,000.
Get your
You're
chocolate
doing.
water physics right.
Second place to the scene where Charlie runs home with the ticket, because all I can think of is Peter Griffin tripping and falling.
I was thinking that exact same thing. Run home, Peter. Run home. So Ryan didn't ruin the joke for me because originally the joke was like I'm not gonna ask what I shouldn't have even asked what the favorite scene is because everyone's favorite scene is whenever the candy room in the factory is first revealed. But Jeremy has to be a dark asshole laughing about cabbage water.
We all know that's everybody's favorite scene.
But just more on the topic of dark stuff, like something that stuck out at me that's really never stuck out before is like at the beginning of the movie when Charlie's like outside the factory on his paper route. There's like a guy like moving like a cart full of like really sharp objects, just talking to Charlie, like all creepy. It's like there's like butcher knives and like shears and giant scissors on it. It's like what the hell is this guy doing?
I was creeped out rewatching that.
You guys ever see the movie Hostel?
Sounds familiar. What's the
Lots
movie?
of knife play in it. It's torture porn.
Is it Tairimo Boys Certified Fun?
I thought you were going to say Tairimo Boys certified torture porn. No, it's not.
There you go.
Also, not Tairimo Boys certified safe. You know, something. Speaking of things that didn't stick out to me as a kid, was Wonka's sarcasm. Did you guys catch on to that?
Yes.
No.
Like, I never noticed it as a kid, obviously, but like rewatching it, I'm like, he's so relatable. Like, he does it so well.
That's the good thing about the movie while Gene Wilder's like the perfect Wonka is Gene Wilder is Wonka. He straddles like that line between genius and insanity like really well as Wonka.
It's a fine line, but damn, does he walk it.
I mean, you're getting the idea that he's genius but then he does like all this insane stuff. Like he's constantly talking like other languages or quoting Shakespeare and stuff. And then other times, the tunnel scene is perfect where like you got all this like madness and stuff going on. Now that's another dark scene. Now here's just some little fun facts about that scene. First off, none of the actors knew all that stuff was coming, so they got a surprise whenever they saw the chicken get its head cut off, and they literally thought that Gene Wilder had gone insane because they hadn't been told what was going to happen in that tunnel.
Really got him into character, huh?
It was a role he was perfect for.
Absolutely.
Another little fun fact for you. So Gene Wilder, whenever after he auditioned for this role, they came up to him like right away and told him they want him as Wonka, and his condition for taking the role was that the first time he's introduced, he has to come out walking like he's crippled, and eventually he shows that he's not crippled, which is like the scene that is actually in the movie where he does like the somersault, like ta-da type thing. That was another thing, like all the people there didn't know was about to happen. They kind of thought Gene Wilder kind of hurt himself before coming on set, but the reason why he did that was the fact that it gets the idea in the audience's head that this guy can't be trusted. So there you go. Now, the great thing about this movie is just like every single room on it, you kind of wish that you were there and got to experience for yourself. That's what makes this such a magical children's movie. What do you think, Jeremy?
And a magical adult movie. I still want to go to those rooms.
I also love magical adult movies. Yeah. What was the question? Sorry, I was thinking about magical adult movies.
I don't know. Now I'm thinking about magical adult movies. All right. It's time for a fun little quiz. Jeremy, do you know what fetish came out of this movie?
I'm scared. No. I don't even want to guess at this. I can see a lot of things going on here.
What about you, Ryan?
Dripping chocolate on a hottie.
That existed long before this movie.
Dripping gobstoppers on a hottie.
I hope that's not a thing.
There you go, baby,
So,
right in the eyeball.
so the fetish that actually came from this movie is blueberry transformation. Do not Google search that.
God damn it! Now I'm curious.
Blueberry transformation.
It's also called, hold on, what's this say? Blueberrification.
Sounds hot.
There we go. There's your target audience. It's Ryan.
70s were a wild time.
I know. I think that's more of a modern day thing since the internet exists.
The modern time is a wild time.
But that's all the research I did on that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right. So it is time for the big question. Jeremy, who is the villain of this movie?
The villain of this movie.
I'm cutting out all the dead air, but Jeremy's really having to think about this.
Mr. Slugglesworth or Slugsworth that doesn't exist.
Okay, I'm gonna rant about that. So yeah, it's Slugworth, and I think in this universe there is a Slugworth, but I don't think it's the one we meet. Like before all this golden ticket nonsense, like Grandpa Joe's talking about it, like Slugworth. The reason Willy Wonka stopped opening his factory is because of Slugworth chocolates stealing all of his secrets. So there is a Slugsworth in this universe.
Also, the other real reason, poverty. That's the other villain.
Well, you're being philosophical now. Ryan, do you want to steal this from Jeremy?
No, because I was about to get philosophical.
Well, fine. It's the Tairimo Boys philosophy hour or segment. Tairimo Boys be Confucius. Or go ahead, Ryan.
Being a deceitful little asshole. Deceit is the villain. Not doing what you said you would is the villain.
What are you talking about?
People with type 2 diabetes, also the villain.
There's a clear villain in this movie. Everyone wants to be philosophical.
Grandpa Joe is the villain.
Ryan, you're actually right. Grandpa Joe is the villain of this movie.
So close to getting beheaded by a ceiling fan.
Okay, so let's talk about Grandpa Joe. So, in this movie, for anyone who doesn't know, this is inspired by the whole Charlie and the Chocolate Factory book. The author of the book says he hates this movie. Well, he's probably dead by now, but he said he hated the movie because they made so many changes to it. But that's kind of disputed because he was on set and all this other stuff. So we don't know if it's an Alan Moore type situation or not. But this movie,
I would love to read Alan Moore's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm not locked in here with you.
That throws molten chocolate all over Veronica Salt's face. They changed a whole bunch of stuff, and in the book, Charlie's dad's still alive, works in a toothpaste factory. In this, it's just Charlie's mom who does like laundry stuff, and she's supporting 4 lazy bums of grandparents who just lay in bed all day.
For 20 years.
Yeah, for 20 years, Grandpa Joe has been laying in bed, taking money for tobacco. He doesn't get a job. Every one of those people can go and wash laundry and support the family. But suddenly, whenever he wins a golden ticket, now he can get out of bed and sing and dance.
And run around.
Yep. Remember, the song is I've Got a Golden Ticket, sung by Grandpa Joe, not Charlie's Got a Golden Ticket.
Oh, and also he was threatening Willy Wonka at the end. So he is the villain.
Hold on, I am not done yet with all this huge list of why Grandpa Joe's the villain.
Jesus. But he drew up a whole rap sheet on him.
I did. So we get into the factory. Grandpa Joe, as soon as like Willy Wonka's having them sign the contract, all the kids get the liability contract, which no one can read because the fine print gets so small. He tells Charlie, like, "Oh, sign away. We've got nothing to lose." That could be selling yourself into slavery, dumb old man. You've got plenty to lose. You'd be signing away your house. Then where's your lazy ass gonna lay all day? Then we go on to the like fizzy lifting drink thing. You got to remember, like when all the kids are eliminated, It's by their own design. Like Augustus Gloop, he's drinking from the chocolate river even after Wonka tells him to stop. Violet, she eats the gum even though Wonka's telling her to stop. Sarcastically, because that's what like we said earlier. Wonka's just like sarcastically telling people stop, stop, stop. Eventually it
Oh
stops,
no,
stop,
you
because
saw
you're
it.
ruining my chocolate river, and then it's like, oh no, stop, oh don't. Even the TV kid, like I want to be on TV, and has the Oompa Loompas just suck him into the TV, but not Charlie. Charlie's doesn't sin. It's Grandpa Joe that makes him sin like a drug pusher. Like, no, Charlie, let's get these fizzy lifting drinks. And then at the end, whenever after Grandpa Joe is like chewing out Wonka, he's not even out the door yet, and he's like, "Oh, let's sell this to Slugworth." It's like you haven't even left the place yet, and you're literally saying you're going to commit corporate espionage. Grandpa Joe is the villain.
Absolutely. What an asshole. Speaking of kids and getting their just desserts, unintended. Gentlemen, favorite Oompa Loompa song?
Ooh, I did not prepare for this.
Ryan, what do you got?
That's a hard one.
It is a hard one. That's why.
That's a hard candy one. They're all so dickish.
That's why I had to bring it up.
They're not dickish. They're just trying to teach you a lesson.
I don't like lessons. People that teach me lessons are dicks.
I'm gonna butt in here and say maybe the TV one.
That's a good one.
They're all good, Jeremy. All the songs, all the
they're
songs
all
in this,
good?
yeah, all the songs in this movie are good except for the song Charlie's mom sings, which no one remembers.
No.
And here's your little fun fact about the songs in this movie: they were written before the script was made, so they had to literally write the script around the songs.
Ryan, you want me to go with my favorite song?
Yes.
Augustus. Because they were shitting on him for being fat.
Okay. Here's some little fun facts about Augustus. Augustus and Slugworth's actors, they did not speak English, so they were just kind of mouthing words, and eventually got dubbed over. Same thing they did to Goldfinger in the James Bond movie. But when I was looking up fun facts for this movie, every website I was going to, you could see it was getting hit with like modern day politically correct BS, where it's like Augustus's actor was chosen because he was so rotund. They just say he's fat. Anyways, Ryan, did you think of a song?
I'm gonna go with Violet.
Ryan wants some of that blueberrification.
Well, now he's going with Violet after researching that.
But yeah, the Oompa Loompas, they're all like a classic, and luckily for us, the upcoming new Wonka movie, they were going back to the old Oompa Loompas. All right, you got any topics you want to discuss?
Diabetes. It's a scourge on our nation.
Be responsible with your candy usage, people at home.
That's all we ask.
Yeah, give me your candy.
It's not Halloween yet. All right, we need to address the elephant in the room now. We've already addressed a little, but
Justice?
no, Ryan, not the rotund kid. The 2005 Willy Wonka. Well, it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in 2005. Jeremy, do you remember anything about it?
No. No, I don't. Other than Johnny Depp's in it.
What about you, Ryan?
I remember being unsettled. I didn't watch it. I just saw the trailer for it, and I thought Johnny Depp was selling that candy in a van.
Yeah, no one likes the 2005 version. Like Johnny Depp, he's a really good actor, but like I don't the whole Tim Burton thing that they did with Willy Wonka in that movie just it was literally around the same time that Michael Jackson was in court for like his kid diddling, and everyone was just comparing it to that. But like that movie's just completely forgettable. Like the only thing they improved was the Chocolate River. Even in like modern days, like the Chocolate River effect, it's not the greatest in the world, but it holds up good enough. Like every time I see it, I can still believe it's chocolate. Let's not even get started about the whole Oompa Loompas and how forgettable their songs are, or the fact you can't even make out their lyrics and how dated the songs are, even though even though this 1971 version is much more memorable and not dated.
I like to pretend it's a prequel to a third Michael Keaton Batman movie.
I mean, it makes sense with Willy Wonka being the villain, and his dad's played by Christopher Lee, who was a dentist.
Christopher Lee, the man with the golden ticket.
All right, Jeremy, final thoughts?
It's a classic. You can enjoy it. Kids will enjoy it. Adults will enjoy it. Watch it.
Agree. Ryan, final thoughts?
It's old.
You're old. As for me, yeah, it's an old movie, but it holds up more than the one that only came out almost 20 years ago. Certainly worth seeing. One of Gene Wilder's most well-known roles. Casting was just perfect. Everything holds up. Songs are memorable, minus the one sung by Charlie's mom. And you will not be disappointed seeing this with your whole family. All right. Jeremy, on a scale of Wreck-It Ralph to the 2005 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where would you rank this on the candy
Wreck-It
scale?
Ralph.
Gotta get him some of that sugar rush. What about you, Ryan?
Wreck-It Ralph.
There's really not a whole lot of movies about candy if you really think about it. Maybe Candyman. But yep, I'll put it up there with Wreck-It Ralph. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode of Tairimo Boys podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, ring that motherfucking bell, all that. And Jeremy, do you know what happened to the Tairimo boy who got everything he ever wanted?
He lived happily ever after.
No. What the hell are
Oh.
you talking about? He got a lot of money, got too cocky, OD'd, and choked on his own vomit.